speaking about it might help. Something can drop, the coin can drop, and something can shift. But just in a way to not even resist that struggling, not resist that resistance. Just that's part of what is. Part of you could say your strategy from falling completely into the wound. I mean, you can be pretty much being the wound and still have pieces of it that you're in resistance to. I mean, this is how it is for all of us. Yeah. I mean, this is a lifelong thing. The second birth is just kind of a basic sense of this. Enter into it to the degree that you can allow attention to kind of be the sensations and the tightness, and just be, you could say, hold it in the kind of open-handed kind of, this kind of holding, not this kind of holding, but, this pain, and just be the space in which it is, and let that space surround the tension and penetrate the tension, and just be the tension, and not molest the tension, not bother the tension, not make the tension wrong or judge it as if it was like, a homeless person that you wanted to get rid of. Just letting that person be, that energy be. Maybe it's smelly, maybe it's not pleasant, but just not molesting it, just letting it be, just surrounding, being with it, being as it. It's like even if you were to, like I said, even if you were to be able to become the perfect yogi and have your energy and attention totally free and filled with love, and you became like a brain surgeon, or like a research chemist that could solve all the diseases on the planet, right? And the hunger and all that kind of stuff, and everybody's living. All you need is one person somewhere on the planet to become, I don't know, a child molester, right? Or you need is one child to fall down a well. You don't even need a perpetrator. You just need some accident in nature. And life is suffering. And it sucks. You read about it, or especially if you know the people involved. All you need is one horrible accident. One person to fall downstairs where there's nobody around, so they end up staying there a day or 2 days and dying. You can't do anything about this. That's the way it is. So the only response can be compassion. I mean, what else can there be? We're helpless in the face of limited existence. Just can't do anything about that. And that's what hurts. That's what the wound is. That's what there is to drop into. And that's love. And it's painful in its way. I mean, pain, suffering, we've been throwing on the words on this, there's ways to be with discomfort so that you're not making it worse. So I don't want to downplay that. That's very important. There's ways you can dramatize pain, and there's ways that you can just be with what is. But in any case, it isn't pretty. Yeah, so, and the fact that it isn't pretty, letting it penetrate, that's what we're talking about. Letting it penetrate and just love it, just being and being compassion. What else is there to do? And this stretches us, right? It's really, really paradoxical, because it's the way that I'm suggesting that you connect with the larger connection of life is by feeling into where you feel separate and resting your attention there, which is like counter to what we usually do. There's like no reactivity to the fact of the discomfort, but the discomfort itself is part of what it is. And so the more discomfort that you're relaxing into, then the more well-being is felt. Yeah. You know, and people, you know, on TV they say don't try this at home, right? I say don't try this without some sense of formless consciousness, without the spacious nature as a given. It's really not safe to tell somebody to identify with their limits. But everybody who comes to these things has had some taste that I know. I mean, is there anybody here who's never done any spiritual practices at all? And anybody here who hasn't had a sense of themselves as more than their body? Okay. Even that's enough. Because, you know, and everybody has it as intuition anyway, but the more clear it is, the more you can actually embrace the limited. The problem is usually when people do those kind of things, like self-inquiry and all, they go, oh no, I identified again. You know, it's like, because they were getting that they were not just that they were the container, that they're the substratum, that they're free of phenomenality, or free as the awareness of phenomenality. But then when there's a re-identification with phenomenality, then it's a mistake. So rather than it being a mistake, embrace it, go for it, be, you know.
Yeah, like really identify with it. Like
consciously.
Identify with it as much as you possibly can. Like,
yeah, you could say that.
You know, I mean,
if you want to.
You can play with it that way if
Yeah.
there's that space. You know, yeah.
Yeah, because it actually, the space, or you could say the recognition of consciousness, is actually non-conceptual. So that when you're back conceptually being a body, you don't know, quote unquote, don't know that you're consciousness conceptually. But there is, you could say, trace elements or something. There is there is a knowing in the field that you are. So the more you actually do self-inquiry, the more safe it is to get lost again, because there's more of a knowing that isn't mental. It's not like you're necessarily remembering it, but it'll pull you back when you're relaxed.